Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Scramble Jake's Breakfast Company. If you're looking for the perfect spot to start your day, get out to Rocky Hill at North Shore Drive in West Knoxville. Scramble Jake's has repeatedly been voted Knoxville's best breakfast. And if you're looking for a special place to host a party or a get-together, Scramble Jake's offers a terrific after-hours menu, and they've got their terrific location. I can't say terrific enough. Scramble Jake's Breakfast Company in Rocky Hill. Get out there and see them this week. Visit them at scramblejakes.com. All right, I want to welcome in the next member of our panel, Bob Hodge. I'll do that in a second. Let's go to the graphic first. We've got, I wanted to show you some notes here. Rick Barnes, 26 tournament trips. 12 times he's lost the first game. All right, 19 times out of 26 he did not advance past the first weekend. That means 7 trips to the Sweet 16 or beyond. When he's made it to the Sweet 16, he has been seeded a 4, a 6, a 1, a 3, a 2, a 2. So he needs that good seed to really get that far. 15 of 26 tournament losses were upsets by seed, meaning the lower seeded team, the worst seeded team, upset his team 15 of 26 times. Here's the one that stands out, though. All time versus teams with a higher seed, a better seed, he's 1-11. That's not great. Only win over a better seeded team was in 2002 when he beat a 3 with a 6. And the last time he won a game on the second weekend of the tournament was way back in 2008. Now, let's take a look. Active coaches. Now, Jim Boeheim just retired, so he's got an asterisk. But coaches that were alive and coaching this year, you've got Boeheim, Bobby Huggins, Cliff Ellis, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, Bill Self, Rick Barnes. No, I did not take any of their vacated numbers out of it. You can do that on your own time. This is their actual records. You see, though, I mean, Barnes, 26, he'll have more tourney appearances than anybody else in college basketball going into next year once Boeheim's out of here. But only the trips that we just talked about, he's much more in the Bob Huggins, which isn't a bad place to be. He's much more in the Bob Huggins ballpark than he is the Boeheims, the Patinos, the Caliparis, and the Selfs. I think for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people, they look at this and they say, and you're kind of tailing off the end of the year. You're not going anywhere in this tournament. So, Bob Hodge, I now introduce you.
Yes.
Bob Hodge.
I'm here.
Well, I was waiting on visuals. Visual confirmation that Bob is here. So, Bob, I'm going to ask you.
A lot of people didn't want it.
Is this tournament over before it starts?
You know, the good news is I'm always wrong when I predict things. So I'm going to say yes. I mean, I think if you just look at this team since February, it hasn't been, you mentioned it before, it hadn't been fun. Okay, it hadn't been fun, but I won't win, so I don't care about the fun. But boy, is it not fun when you don't look exciting and flowing well and you're still not good. But I think without Ziegler, the numbers back up how important he was. And just this entire season, offense has been a struggle. Every game you hit a dead period. I mean, even when you win, some of the big wins you've had dead periods in there. And I just don't think Tennessee can overcome that against what, for the most part now, is going to be all the competition is going to be good from here on out. So no, I think you're probably done. I will be surprised if they're still alive a week from tomorrow.
A year ago, Tennessee won the SEC tournament. There was great optimism going into the postseason that, hey, this could be a Final Four team, and they lost. This year, there's not much optimism.
To a 14-12 Michigan team they lost, yeah.
So now this year, there's not much optimism. This thing is unpredictable, right? Mm-hmm. However, the thing that seems to be predictable about this team is that they do have the lulls that you're talking about. The predictability is they're inconsistent. They're consistently inconsistent, which makes me think it's going to be really hard for them to make a run in this tournament. I don't see them getting past the first weekend.
There's got to be a magical solution at point guard or something, doesn't there? There has to be somebody or something that changes that dynamic. Otherwise, I think there's a better chance you're one and done than you win two and get to the Sweet 16.
It's awfully negative in here, Josh.
Well, is Tennessee going to be a 4 or 5? Because that second round matchup, you just told me better seeding versus worse seeding really seems to matter here.
Yeah.
It's not over because it's the NCAA tournament and teams are capable of shooting really poorly. And if the team on the other side shoots really poorly in that second round game and you just need one win to advance, then there you go. And by the way, the season all of a sudden becomes a tremendous success for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
It can be that quick. But for everybody who is concerned and feeling down and not optimistic, the reasons why are obvious.
Yeah. I wonder.
That total lack of an inside game that Tennessee has showed, and I just don't think you can overcome that. I think if you're bad shooting your threes, but yet you can dump it down inside and get some points. But if you're bad shooting your threes and your inside game is just non-existent as it has looked, then where do you go?
You beat Texas because Comeon went 12 or 15.
Yeah,
And how often has he done that?
Yeah, and then there are other games
When you beat Texas?
where Josiah Jordan-James went off.
Yes.
But you don't. It's what we showed. You're going to get 10 from him, or you're going to get 20, or you're going to get 3. Who knows? Roll the dice. I wonder. Last year, the team seemed really upset when they lost to Michigan. They really wanted to win that for Rick Barnes. They knew what people have said about Rick Barnes and his career history. And I know there are Vol fans who are very positive. I'm going to get the emails because we showed the numbers, and they're going to be mad at me. How dare you show the numbers? What are we supposed to do? They're the numbers. I mean, it's not like these are fake numbers that I'm putting in here. These are the numbers. So they know the situation. I wonder at what point does that seep in? At what point, last year they looked at it and said, we got to win this for coach, and it killed them, they couldn't. At some point, do they sit there and you're down 5 in the second half and you go, well, we know how this ends.
Well, that's when you don't want to have another one of those, like Bob's talking about, Missouri.
But tell it to me, answer my question. Does anybody else think that there's a possible negative that this team knows what their coach's record is and it works against them? Is that a possibility
I
or no?
don't think so. I don't
because you do have guys that won an SEC tournament, and that's not
Right.
the NCAA I recognize, but Tennessee hadn't done that in 43 years until they did it last year. So I don't like the leaders of the team, Vescovy, James, you know who they are at this point. I don't think they're affected by that. I think it's more, can they make plays late in games?
I agree with what Josh said. I'll say this, and they opened the locker room in the SEC tournament. Those players were very upset with the loss. It hurt them a lot. You could tell that. It was hard to get them to say anything, to talk to them. But I think it's more, I don't think they look, Rick Barnes has trouble, so we know how this is going to end. I don't think they think that way.
I just think it's fair to ask that. That's one of those things that gets talked about a lot in professional coaching. That's like, well, does this team really have a lot of faith in its coach when it's in this situation? When you get a guy who's lost 3 Super Bowls, you're in there with him, and it's a tight game in the Super Bowl, does that pop up into the other guy's head? Just the same way that if somebody's playing with Tom Brady and you're down 28-3, you still look at Tom Brady and go, we're fine. We got this. So I don't completely dismiss this as no, they would never consider his record. Somewhere in the deepest recesses of their minds, I don't know. And I'm not saying they'd quit on him. I just wonder if you get down over that.
Well, and John, real quick, you said people may get upset with you showing those numbers.
Oh, they will.
How did Rick Barnes end up at Tennessee? At Texas, he was able to win a lot of games, but couldn't go far enough in the tournament, right?
And they showed the numbers.
And
Somebody showed them. But he also fell off. It fell off at Texas.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he still
didn't-
going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but he wasn't top 10 in the country for most
Right.
of the season and stuff. You're talking about, losing 13, 14 games a year there at the end. I wonder, though, to be clear, if there's anybody out there looking at these numbers saying, yes, we need to get rid of him and move on, that is the complete opposite. That's someone who doesn't understand. No. That's someone that, unlike me, doesn't remember Buzz Peterson, doesn't remember Donnie Tyndall and Conzo Martin and Kevin O'Neal and Wade Houston. If you remember those things.
It's somebody who doesn't remember most of Tennessee's basketball history.
Yes, I mean,
That's basically what it comes down to.
These are rich people problems. We're talking about how well they do in the tournament. What will their seed be? How high will it be? As opposed to the Buzz Peterson years when we started this show, we're sitting there going, will they get in? No, it's another NIT trip. So, no, I don't think anybody who's intelligent would be saying make a change. At the same time, I get people's frustration.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, you've got to get
I mean, I think that is what's been maddening about the Barnes era is the end of season frustration that you typically always have. So
It's almost
I'm not as strong as you on the players and the thought that, okay, here we go again. But I also think, somewhere back in there, if you've been there for 4 years and the result has been the same for 4 years and you're in that tight situation in the NCAA tournament, does that here we go again kick in just a little bit?
And right or wrong, I've heard more people complaining because of his salary. You start making that much money, it's like, okay, where's the return on $5.4 million or whatever he's making? So I've heard some of that.
People have started rounding it to 6. You see 6 all the time now. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you say, I'll not go to UCLA and I'll stick around, pay me, okay, then what are you making the money for? And that we've talked about that before. You're making the money to keep it between the white lines, to keep you in the top 10, to keep
Sell
the
popcorn.
Yeah, sell popcorn. Sell that dadgum popcorn is what we want to say. But at the same time, fans want tournament wins. Not if a lot of people would rather have wins in March than big wins in December.
Yeah, passion and support doesn't come without expectations. That comes with it too.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey says debate over schedules is ongoing. Why? Just get this over with. Tell us the format. And is Tennessee wanting the lesser of the two formats? I'll ask these guys what they think. If Tennessee has now dropped to where they're in the Kentucky range of, we want to play more non-conference games so we can get an automatic bowl bid. If so, ugh. Going back on the Sports Source, we'll hurl.